And then he said, "It takes one to know one." Oh, hello. I didn't see you sitting there. Let's do some coding. What's up, everybody? How you doing today? So today I wanted to do a short video on CSS grid, and we're going to create this gallery layout with these cool CSS effects where you hover over it and it changes the size of the picture and the opacity. We're adding some JavaScript. When you click on it, it pulls up a lightbox where you can then scroll through the gallery. You can click up here in the grid view and it pulls up this other little grid, and you can preview all the images that way. So let's dig into the code. And we're back in the text editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code as usual to create our template. And let's just call this responsive grid gallery lightbox. The HTML is going to be very straightforward. It's just a container, and inside the container it's just going to be a bunch of divs with a class of item. So we just create an item, and then inside of the div we're going to have an anchor tag, and the href is going to be pointing at the image URL, which we'll go over here in just a second. But inside of the a tag we're going to have an image, and the source is what the image is going to be. So let's grab our images. I'm going to do that through pixels. I searched nature. We can grab any of these we want. I'm going to use this one. Click on an image, right click, and you just do copy image address. And let's move that over here. And that's going to be our source. Paste it in there. That's our source for the image and our href. Because it's an image gallery, there's going to be quite a few items. Just going to put everything on the same line. Okay, so that's an item. We're going to do a class item with the anchor, and inside the anchor we're going to have another image. And I will let you guys pick out whatever images you want, and then I'll meet you back. I'm going to do 12 images, so I'll pick them out and I'll meet back with you. Alright guys, we're back. So we've got our container with div class item. I have 12 of those with different URLs pointing to different images. In our a tag right there, and inside of our a tag we have an image with the same URL that we used for our anchor tags. So there is the HTML structure. I am using an extension called Live Server. Right here, Live Server. So if you want to install that, you can install it. And what that does is on your HTML, your index page, you can right click and open with Live Server. And then that opens up a browser window. And then we have our images. We have 12. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, counting with Dan. Awesome. So that is it for the HTML. Now we need to create a style sheet. We're going to link it. I'm not going to have it in any subfolders or anything, so I'm just going to have a style.css. Save that. Come over here, and in our main project, create a new file called style.css. The CSS is pretty simple. First thing we're going to do is look at our container. And that is this guy right here. It's the main div that wraps all of the content. And we're going to do a display grid on it and grid template columns to create columns out of them. And we're going to run this little repeat function. Inside the repeat function, we're going to do an autofill and min, max. I'll do 350 pixels and 1 fraction. So what this is doing, we could have, if we wanted 3 columns, we could say 1 FR, 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. It would tell the container class to display 3 columns. However, we want it to be responsive. We want the columns to autofill and look nice. Instead of just having just 3 columns there, we have to style separately. We'd run this little function repeat. So for every column, repeat autofill. So it autofills the space with a minimum and maximum. We have 350 pixels and 1FR. So it's just a more detailed way of saying 1FR. We're giving it some more properties to style that column. So then we will do justify items. Justify items. We want those in the center. And then grid gap. You could put grid gap if you want to. I'll just show you. I'll do 10 pixels of grid gap. We save that. It auto reloads our live server. So that shows here this white space in between the images. It's kind of hard to tell on that one. This one. So it shows 10 pixels of white space. If we were to do 0, it removes that 10 pixels. Now we have some space already in there from our images and divs. So item, we want a width of 100%. We want them to take up the entire width of their container. Overflow hidden, and then a background of just black is fine. Or we'll do like a dark gray. So that's for the item. The image, we want opacity 0.6, so there's a little bit of opacity, so we can kind of see through it a little bit. The width, we want the image to be 100%. Wow, 100%. There it is. Wide. We want the height. Okay, what the height to be 100%. And then we want to do a transform on it. When we change the size, we'll do 1.15, that's good. And I'll show you this. Transition, transform, maybe half a second. And then we want to change the opacity of half second too. Yes. And then on the image hover, so when we move our mouse over the image, we want to change the opacity. Why do I keep doing that? Opacity to 1. And then transform. Still not used to this keyboard. We want to change the scale down a little bit. It was at 1.15. We want to change it to 1.03. Should be good. And that honestly is going to be it for our styling. So if we save that, it reloads our page. And we have this. Beautiful. So we have 0 grid gap. I can show you that a little bit better here. Oh, that is at the top. 10 pixels, and there you go. We got 10 pixels of grid gap. It's just your preference, whatever you want. I'm not going to do any. There we go. So we have this hover effect. It has a light opacity overlay on it that we styled to be gray, that dark gray. And the hover effect, so the initial scale is slightly larger than the normal picture would fit in a container, and then when we hover over it, it changes the scale and the opacity. Pretty cool. If you notice, there is a pointer on the cursor. That's because it is inside of an A tag, so they're technically links. If we click it, it opens up that image. So let's go a little bit. Oh, wow, that was weird. Let's add a little bit more code to beef this page up a little bit. And we're going to add a Jquery Lightbox. So what is a Jquery Lightbox, you might be asking yourself? Well, it is a lightbox using Jquery. So what that means is when we hover over, or not hover, when we click on our image, then it's going to pull up that image in a cool different style. So if we go back to the demonstration I showed you before, you click on it, it opens it up in this nice little slider lightbox. And that's that. So how do we add the fancy box, the lightbox functionality to our items? First, we're going to need to go to Google Chrome or whatever browser you are using. Type in fancy box. Come here. I'm going to grab the CSS. Down arrow, I'm just going to click the link tag and put it right there. And then we also need the JavaScript. the JS, do a script tag, copy that, and then put that down here at the end. And then obviously we're going to need Jquery as well. So Jquery CDN right here. We can do 3.3. Uncompressed is fine. Copy that and paste it. It has to go above, Jquery has to go above any of the other script tags. It has to be called first. So now what else we need? I'm looking at my notes here, and I believe that's it for our tags. Now inside of our anchor tag, right at the end, we need to add an attribute of data fancy box equals gallery. Copy that, and that goes on every one of our anchor tags just inside the closing. Save it, come back over here, and there we have it. We still get the scale on hover, which I think is kind of cool. And then we have our little previous and next buttons, and we can cycle through the images. And then we have our grid button right here, and it shows the little grid layout. Not too bad at all. We can close that. And the coolest part, since we have autofill on our CSS styling, when we change the screen size, the columns are totally responsive. It autofills the space. I mean, like if we have this super wide, it'll just keep adding them and adding them. Perfect. And they have a maximum size, or a minimum size of, what did we say, 350 pixels. So perfect, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Fun little project, real quick, short and sweet, not too difficult, just pointing to the script and link tags and adding an attribute to your existing HTML elements. Pretty awesome. So that's going to be it for today. So don't forget to subscribe. I'll continue putting out more videos for you guys. If you have any requests, please let me know and I'll make that happen. See you guys soon.
Press start.